I still have the RCA RBB-1 receiver on the workbench. Just thought to do a short video to demonstrate the spectrum analyzer looking at the IF passband. So we have the detector connected to this little breakout box, just using a ×10 scope probe onto the pin of the detector tube on the last IF transformer. This little breakout box feeds a signal to the scope, which isn't switched on at the moment, but also feeds signal to the spectrum analyzer over here. I've got a 3 dB attenuator in there, but it's not really needed. And then the tracking generator of the spectrum analyzer is output in here through a DC block. Comes to this little twin pair of HP attenuators, which is set for minus 50 dBs, and the output of the tracking generator is set for minus 20, so there's a minus 70 dB attenuation on the output of the tracking generator, and that goes to the grid of the mixer stage via a 0.02 microfarad capacitor there. It's a very, very simple setup. This box, by the way, is just for the audio output. This receiver's got a 600 ohm line level output, and I've got it connected to a speaker. You can just hear the sweep in the background there quietly. So at the moment the passband is set for broad selectivity. I've got it on manual gain with the IF and RF gains turned fully up. Nothing connected to the antenna, of course. And the output level doesn't do anything when it's in the manual gain mode on this receiver. So with it on broad selectivity, that's the shape of the IF response curve. A little bit of a slope on the top of the curve there. You can correct that, but at different gain levels I've noticed the slope can change orientation, so it's really not worth trying to fiddle about with that for the sake of a couple of decibels. Nice feature I found on this spectrum analyzer, I didn't realise the other day when I was playing with it, I only had this couple of weeks, is that the marker function is really useful. It's got function on there for the minus 3 dB points. It automatically picks those up and it displays them on the screen here. So the central of this passband is 400.4 kilohertz as it's calculating it, with a bandwidth 3 dB down of 11.467 kilohertz, which is quite wide, but it is meant to be on the broad position here. Nice steep skirts, so it's a pretty good looking broad passband for AM reception with little interference on the signal. I'll switch to medium passband, and we'll just switch the measurement off and just watch the passband change. Now I've got the spectrum analyzer set for an average of 10 sweeps, and you can see the sweeps taking place every time it goes through the passband. You can hear it on the receiver audio output. See the shape of the curve is slowly changing with each pass of each sweep. But overall it's steepening up nicely. Still got a reasonably rounded top on the curve there, nice steep skirts again, but it's a sharper peak. So I'll switch the function back onto the marker. So you can see now at the minus 3 dB bandwidth is 7.467 kilohertz. Center frequency is exactly on 400 kilohertz. It actually calculates the Q as well, which is about 54 for this curve. It was lower for the other curve. So as it goes more sweeps, it's actually tightening up the passband a little bit every time. And finally, I'll go into the sharp selectivity position. Switch off the marker, the math function, that is. And again, you can see the curve steepening up as it, with each pass of the curve, it's averaging across 10 sweeps. And the reason I average it is it gives a much less on the noise is averaged out quite a bit. Any minor differences in the curve are averaged out as well. I'll put the math function back on. So now you can see the minus 3 dB point is 1.6 kilohertz bandwidth. The center is calculated. What's the calculated center is moved slightly to 399.733 kilohertz. So about 270 hertz off the center of the passband. And the Q has gone up to 249. Yeah, I'll just alter the input level. So I'll wind it down. It's now at minus 80. You see the level on the curve is dropping down. Still a very respectable signal to noise ratio though. It doesn't substantially alter the characteristics of the curve. If anything, it's sort of sharpening the curve up a little bit. I'll do the opposite now. I'll change this to, so it's minus 60 now. So we see the curve increasing in height. And eventually, after the 10 sweeps, it'll sort of top out at its new value. I'll switch the AGC in. And I'll substantially increase the input level. Now it's overloading the receiver now, but you see the output level is staying pretty constant still, even though I've increased the input by about 40 dBs to the mixer stage. But the overload is causing the various stages not to work as well, and we're getting a wider calculated bandwidth. Now back down to minus 70. There we go. Just thought I'd do a little bit of a demonstration of the Siglent SSA-3021X spectrum analyzer. looking at the bandwidth of this 1941 vintage RBB-1 receiver.